You had a question that you were raising for everybody right at the end of the expression session here. You want to share it with everyone?
My question was, what is the last filter?
What is the what?
The last filter. Like I keep feeling myself at that place, at that, right there, at the point, in the point, and yet there's still some filter, something there, where the drop into the center isn't complete, isn't happening. So my inquiry was, what was the last filter? And what came up for me from Otto's sharing was the fear regarding being totally empty and not knowing who I am. So.
Okay, very good. Well, there's a line in A Course in Miracles that I really like. It's a very short line, but it's very powerful. And it says, trust would settle every problem now. It's one of those little short, sweet lines that's really packed full of things. And really, that's what I'd like to talk about in terms of the last filter. In a world of many filters, and in a journey, a seeking journey of many filters, we come across many, many filters. The last filter is trust. And so, because it's the last filter, we could say that the last filter is pure trust. Pure trust. Not trust with a little bit of doubt sprinkled in, like those little sprinklers that you put on the ice cream cones. The doubt sprinkled on top. It's just pure trust. And often a synonym of trust is faith. You know, when people say, have faith. Or sometimes I'll even say, have more faith. But faith and trust aren't really something that are on a scale that have degrees and gradation. It's like our mind is so powerful that our mind is pure trust, and our mind is pure faith. But what we give our mind over to is really what the issue is. That's what's important. I remember when I was going through A Course in Miracles and I came to lesson 50, and lesson 50 is, I am sustained by the love of God. I loved the title of the lesson. And then when I got in to read the lesson, Jesus said, you believe that you are sustained by everything but the love of God. He goes through pills, money, protective clothing, being liked, knowing the right people, and an endless list of things that you endow with meaning. Or we could say with trust. We take our trusting mind, so trusting, so all-encompassing in its trust, and start to layer over these filters on top of that trust, and trust in things. When you think about your life as it seems to be in this world in terms of the story, you know, it's like, how do we answer the question, who's your daddy? You know, who is your source? Where do you put your faith? Where do you put your trust? Where do the concerns come in terms of sustenance? How will I be sustained? What will sustain me? So, when we talk about the last filter being pure trust, it's simply disengaging and withdrawing our faith and trust in all of these made-up concepts and beliefs and ideas It's kind of like making a house of cards and stacking on one card after the other and making a big stack of a house of cards, and then a good wind comes along and poof, it's just blown over. It can't even stand a little gust of wind. It's so frail, it's so temporary, it's so transitory. And when people have asked me, it's like, somebody just wrote to me yesterday and they say, what is it? There's a lot of teachers and students of the Course in Miracles, but there must be something that you kind of hooked into, or you caught on to, or something that triggered a transformation, or that triggered, a major healing. What was it? And it was this sense of placing trust in the Spirit and withdrawing trust in everything else but the Spirit. All those things that were identified, the things that we've learned from our learning, accumulated learning, why should we trust in those? Have they ever really brought us lasting peace and happiness? So they aren't trustworthy. Even when Jesus has a lesson and he says, I trust my brothers who are one with me, it really comes down to the essence of who is my brother and sister. Is it spirit or matter? Is it spirit or form? How many of us have tried trusting people?
Yeah.
Has anybody tried that one?
Hopeless.
And then you say hopeless, and then we have a teaching like, that which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the Spirit is spirit. So it's like, with this great, beautiful, trusting mind, what will I place my trust in? And that's why the journey is really not an intellectual one. I mean, we were talking about the feelings, how important those are. If you just studied metaphysics your whole life, you were really eloquent, and you were just articulate with your description of metaphysics, what do you think that would get you? Would
That's
a mess.
lots of noise and...
Right.
Noise and
A noise and a mess. If you just studied metaphysics, that's all you're going to get is noise and a mess. Because without practical application, without practice, or without something that's alive and that's living, that's full of vitality and joy and energy, it would just be nothing. It would just be absolutely nothing. And sometimes when you watch these debates on television, you get a reminder, a stark reminder, whether